Chapter 5, Diamond's Piñata Party. "Hooray! Hooray!" was all she could say when dear Diamond woke up that fine Saturday. She leapt out of bed, then crawled on all fours, moving down carpet and slipping through floors. Her mission was simple. To the den she would creep, while foster mom Kathy was still sound asleep. Foster dad Mike was still snoozing too. On weekends he didn't get up until 2. Down the long hallway, then slipped through the kitchen. It was Diamond's birthday, and she was goin' fishin'. Down 2 steps, past double doors, into the den, where she got off the floor, raised up her eyes almost to the ceiling, and there it began, the most wonderful feeling. Di's birthday party was to be loaded with thrills, for her goldfish piñata was stuffed to the gills with the greatest of treasures of candy and gum. But that was not all. Diamond wasn't dumb. She knew the candy was tasty and all that, but nothing compared to taking a whack at the plump, giant goldfish hanging on twine. No lousy blindfold was going to stop her this time. For those who might ask, what's a piñata? It's a great game for anyone who loves to have a lot of fun and reward on any birthday. It's easy to make and so much fun to play. It starts with a piñata in an animal shape. It's covered in paper that people call crepe. And no matter the animal, fish, dog, or ape, the best part of all is that it's easy to break. The piñata is hung high from a house or a tree. Each person is blindfolded so they cannot see. They're spun all around, then given a bat, and given 3 chances to give the piñata a whack. Dear Diamond was so sure that this was her day, and no one was going to take it away. She wanted to bust that piñata wide. It was a longing she held deep, deep down inside, just to be sure that she'd be the one to crack open this fish and have all the fun. She felt it best to practice her swing. So she took up the bat and she gave it a fling. Whack, 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 whack! She swung with a thrust. She had no choice. All the other kids must know that she was the one who was in control. That was her fish and her fishing pole. She landed her blows on the fish without fail, like a hammer that hits its head on a nail, till she finally put the baseball bat right through the tail and felt all the candy as it started to hail down on her head. She had done it at last. She had broken the piñata, and it was a blast! Or was it? She thought as she stood on the ground, with hundreds of candies lying all around. Since nobody was there to gather the prize, no mob of children with glee in their eyes, no clap of laughter from parents ringside, Diamond felt empty, like she had been denied all of the applause that was rightfully hers. Of course, Kathy and Michael could not sleep much more. Soon they came running and opened the door to the den, where it sounded like Di was in trouble. Even foster dog Kopi was there on the double. Now, Kathy and Michael weren't really mad, but the looks on their faces were far from being glad. They had stayed up very, very late last night, making sure the piñata was filled up just right. But what they found there made them stop on a dime. Diamond's party was at noon, and there wasn't much time. The piñata was broken completely in 2. Diamond just stood there, not knowing what to do. Michael decided to take over the fish, while Kathy grabbed up the nearest candy dish. The 2 of them worked like a well-oiled machine to refill the piñata and sew up the seam. Once all of the candy had been put in a pile, Diamond was ready to be put on trial. Mike left with the candy and paper disaster. When it came to repairs, he was the master. Kathy took Diamond back to her room, took out her best dress, for the party was soon. She dressed her and helped her put on her shoes. While she was there, she gave Diamond some news. Now, Diamond, we know, for you have always shown, that the piñata was a treasure you wanted all your own. But we're throwing you this party so some old friends and new can all come over and have some fun too. So be good at this party. Go with the flow. And when it is over, I hope that you'll know that selfish treasures can never compare to the feelings you get from the treasures you share. So Diamond found a mirror and brushed up her hair. She put on a barrette to give it some flair. Together with Kathy, she walked to the kitchen, where both of them, silently together, were wishing that the piñata that had been hung on the door would be just as good as it was before. Michael returned with a huge, happy grin, for he had fixed the fish and had given it a fin. "It's duct tape," he said. "The fish has some bark. That old goldfish was wimpy. Now look, it's a shark." Diamond and Kathy gave up a wiggle, as they both did their best and tried not to giggle. Although the repair had nicely worked out, the once fine goldfish now looked more like a trout. "It looks fine," said Kathy. "Now let's look alive. It's time for the rest of the guests to arrive." The party itself ended up being small, for they only invited Diamond's friends best of all. Brianna showed up in a pretty blue dress. Then Rory arrived in his finest red vest. Brittany came too, before very long. They all had fun singing the birthday song. Now, when eating was over, almost 15 past 1, all the kids knew it was time for real fun. So they circled the shark trout piñata with sacks, and each took their turns giving it whacks. Rory went first and hit the new silver shell. Then Brittany missed twice but hit the third one quite well. Brianna's turn ended with one super loud crack. All the kids stood there with their eager sacks. Diamond stood waiting as the game went along. She heard Kathy's words almost like a song. "Selfish treasures can never compare to the feelings you get from the treasures you share." Diamond knew she was right as she looked at the smiles on the mouths of her friends as they took their trials. She felt all the happiness that she had now earned. It was Kathy's new lesson that Diamond had learned. But the party wasn't over, not 100%, for the trout shark piñata was not even bent. The $1 bat was worth every last cent. Yellow and plastic couldn't leave a dent. The duct tape scales had taken the beating, but no one had any candy for eating. Mike took the bat, and without a thought, he gave it to Diamond. "Come on, take another shot. This time, no blindfold, so give it a whirl. Give it all you've got. Hit it like a girl." So Diamond got ready, took a breath, stepped back. Then she hit the piñata with a gentle smack. And just when it looked like the battle was won, Diamond kept swinging. She just wasn't done. Like a girl on a mission, she let out a cry. She kept whacking and whacking way past her 3 tries. For all of the time she was told what to do, for the times in time out, for being stuck at the zoo, for all of the times she didn't want to share, and when she wanted her mummy and her mom wasn't there, for all her sandcastles that had all fallen down, and when she had dreams that blew her around, for all of the times she was strapped in the chair. Diamond's turn was over, but she didn't care. She swung and she swung with all of her might, and gave Brittany, Brianna, and Rory a fright. The candy was flying like bugs all around as the once mighty piñata fell straight to the ground. Diamond's eyes were on fire, and her ears they were ringing. Though the fish was in pieces, she just kept on swinging. Diamond swung like an angel with frustrated wings. She didn't want the candy. She wanted more swings. Kathy stepped in and said, "Whoa, that's enough. Give your guests a chance to get all the stuff." Michael grabbed the toy bat and held Diamond tight, took her into the house and then out of sight. He held her till she settled down, while the rest of the kids grabbed the candy off the ground. He said, "Diamond, it's okay. You just got excited in front of your friends that you had invited. Try now to breathe and take a short walk. When the party is over, we'll all sit and talk." Diamond relaxed, slowly rubbed her head, soothed by the words that Michael had said. She breathed in and out. She tried not to cry, as each of her guests came in to say, "Bye." "We had a great time, the best piñata of all," they said as their parents led them down the hall. Soon they all left. The party was over, and Kathy put her hand on Diamond's shoulder. Mike came in too. They all sat round, in a foster family circle, right there on the ground. Kathy spoke first with a smile on her face, as Diamond was waiting to be put in her place. "Do you remember what I said when I told you to compare the treasures you hold with the ones that you share?"
"Yes, I do," said Diamond. "At the party I knew. When I saw all the smiles, I knew it was true. It felt really good. It seemed twice as better to share all the fun with everyone all together."
"That's correct," said Kathy. "But there's more you should know about all of the feelings you keep down below. We know candy and toys are treasures to you, but did you know feelings and thoughts, those are treasures too? And the more that you share them and then let them show, the closer our foster family can grow. So the next time you feel like taking a whack, come find me or Michael, and let's talk about that." Diamond was calm and did not even speak. She never thought her feelings or thoughts were unique enough to be considered a prize, so she always just buried them down inside. Diamond answered,
"Okay, I'll share as much as I can. I'll tell you when things happen that I can't stand."
"Good," said Kathy, sitting up tall. "Just make sure you know that we can't fix them all, but we are here to listen, and we do always care. It's important to us that you are willing to share." "I've got some treasures," said Michael with glee, as he got up and stood on his knees and he reached his hands deep into his pocket, where he pulled out a couple of pieces of chocolate, and he handed one each, Kathy and Di, who giggled a bit as they gave it a try, for the candy had melted. It was not easy to peel back the wrapper from the chocolatey goo. And in the end it made quite a mess when dear Diamond wiped both her hands on her dress. But Kathy just smiled as she wiped off a trace of chocolate from the chin of Michael's face. And they all laughed together at the small gooey treat, for sharing made the treasure taste 3 times as sweet. Epilogue. In writing this story to play in your mind, some events were imagined to keep up the rhyme. Some words they were chosen to keep up the pun. Some events were made up just to keep up the fun. But part of this story is real and true. After 3 years of serving as a state foster home, through outbreaks and outtakes and a huge legal storm, Diamond's roots were planted in her permanent home when Mike and Kathy adopted and made dear Diamond their own.